Well, now that the warmer temperatures and longer days are coming to the Northern Hemisphere and Southern New England, some mornings when I walk in the plant room, it's like somebody's playing Jumanji in here. There's vines going everywhere. I've had to do a lot of rescues just this morning. But today we're going to talk about Dischidia. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at a dozen Dischidia. And before we get underway, a couple of thank yous. First off, to those people who took the time to answer last week's question about what was blooming at your house. That was very interesting and very much fun. To those of you who had a particular Hoya blooming for the first time, congratulations. That's a nice little milestone for you. And for those of you who had any Hoya blooming for your first time, your first Hoya blooming, super congratulations. That's just great. Take a picture of it. You'll want to remember it. And a special thanks goes out to my friends Leslie and Anna, who bought me coffees this week. As I always tell you, your support is very important to my channel. It helps keep me in Hoyas and Dischidias and technology. So yes, thank you both very much. And I like to keep you up to date on what's going on with my plants. So if you remember last week, I used Denise Frida as a prop. And well, she bloomed. There's 3 peduncles in bloom right now, and I can see another 8 or 9 of them. But those blooms are very, very pretty. Very nice, if it'll find the focus. And yeah. I'll put some close-ups of these. These are, the blooms and leaves together are really, yeah, it's a favorite for me. And another one who's busy blooming this week is Hoya calistophylla Kalimantan UT158. And it's got lots of buds in various stages of blooming. Gorgeous leaves. I mean, wow, how can you not? But I see 6 peduncles with buds. Those are really great. They're standard, typical calistophylla blossoms. And I'll put close-ups of these too, but yeah, what a treat. I mean, yeah, gotta love this time of year. Now, Dischidia are Hoya cousins. And I've got this handy little chart here to show you how that came to be or how it works. Both Dischidia and Hoya are members of the kingdom Plantae, the phylum Streptophyta, the class Equisetosphycla, the order Gentianales, the family Apocynaceae, which contains both the genus Dischidia and Hoya. And like Hoyas, they're primarily epiphytic vines that come from the same parts of the world and require the same amount of care or the same type of care. Because like Hoyas, they really don't require a lot of care. You give them what they need and they'll pretty much take care of themselves. So if you can grow a Hoya, you can grow a Dischidia. They're not difficult. There are some that require much higher humidity and specialized care, but you won't see any of those today. I grow the ones that grow for me, and I really enjoy this genus. So with all that said and done, let's take a look at the first Dischidia. So the first 2 up today are my Dischidia ruscifolia. And I showed these just a couple weeks ago because it was their, I think, 4-year anniversary here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, so we'll get to it. They are native to the Philippines. They were first published in 1886 in Malaysia. They were mentioned originally by Joseph Decane, but officially published by Odoardo Beccari. And these are just fun, Beautiful plants. I've got pictures of the blossoms, and I'll put them over on the side here as I usually do in just a moment. But these have grown incredibly well. They are just beautiful, tiny little heart-shaped vines or leaves. Beautiful arcing vine pattern, just really, really nice. It also comes in, an outer variegated variety with equally pretty leaves that occasionally go their own way and do their own thing. When I'm fine, that doesn't stress me out at all. These are both growing in my mix of cocoa husk chunks, fine bark, long fiber sphagnum, and pumice, and they're in self-watering wick-based pots. And they seem to really appreciate that. So just like Hoyas, if you can grow a Hoya, you can grow a Dischidia. These came from California Tropicals on Etsy, and these two beautiful plants, I'm not even going to try and do that because I'll end up spilling it on the floor. These two beautiful plants are Dischidia ruscifolia. Kit up, I can't tell you too much about. It's a mystery that I'm still trying to figure out. I bought this plant as Dischidia affinity parasitica sumatra. And I did so because I thought the leaves were really neat for Dischidia. That's just kind of cool. And it's been here for a while. How long has it been here? It's been here just about 3 months. And it was winter, so it didn't do much. The last week, though, it's put out 2 new leaves. So I'm very happy about that. The mystery comes because, there is no Dischidia parasitica, at least not a recognized plant. There is, however, a Dischidia parasita that's recognized. Now, parasita is native to the Philippines, and this one came with the descriptor Sumatra. And Sumatra is not in the Philippines, so actually Sumatra is part of Indonesia. So it's a puzzlement. And it was also species affinity parasitica. Now, parasitica was originally published in 2019 in Gardens Bulletin by Mohammed Hefesi Arshad, Esperanza Maribel Guayo Agu, and Michaela Rhoda. But I don't know that that's what this is. So this could be Dischidia parasita. It could be Dischidia species affinity parasita sumatra. I'm going to have to do more digging and maybe a little bit of waiting to see what comes of this. Again, I think the leaves are really neat. I'm very pleased about the new ones up there. That's very, very cool for me. This one might end up going up just because of the leaves. The leaves are firm. There's a slight curve to them, slight cupping from side to side. A nice, beautiful dark green. This one lives on the front of my desk, so right down here, about 4 feet, 3 feet, 1.5 meters, not 1.5 meters, 1.25 meters back from the southeast facing window. It's a self-watering wick-based pot and has not found the reservoir yet. So yeah, I'm still top watering it. When I put new plants into pond or any self-watering container, I top water for the first 3 or 4 weeks. to make sure the roots get access to moisture. Because if I'm waiting for the stuff that's down here to get up here, the plant may not be happy, and we want happy plants, don't we? Like happy puffy clouds. Anyway, so I'll top water a little tiny bit every couple of days just to make sure the roots don't dry out and it gets what it needs. So that's what I've been doing with this one. This one could be Hoya species affinity parasita Sumatra, or it could be, did I say Hoya? It could be Dischidia parasita, or it could be Dischidia affinity parasita Sumatra. We're going to wait and find out, but this is really cool, and it came from TQ Hoyas on Etsy. The next one up is my little Hoya nummularia. Now, Hoya nummularia is native to, and I got a list for you, so bear with me, Queensland in Australia, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Brunei, Cambodia, South Central and Southeast China and Hainan Island, the Andaman Islands and Assam in India, the Bismarck Archipelago, Kalimantan, the Lesser Sunda Islands, Maluku, Papua, Sulawesi, and Sumatra in Indonesia, Laos, Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, Myanmar, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, Singapore, the Solomon Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. And it is now extinct in Sri Lanka, and I'm sure there is a reason why. I don't know what it is, but I would like to find that out too, just because, I'm nosy about stuff like that. It was first published in 1810 in Prodomus Florae Novae Hollandiae et Insulae von Diemen, which is the Prodomus of the Flora of New Holland and the island of Van Diemen by Robert Brown. And the remarks on the herbarium sheet say Ind or Malay Austral. So he probably ran into it in a few places. This started off as two little cuttings. And I think I should have an arrival picture, what it looked like when it got here. And I think I just ordered two cuttings. One of the cuttings didn't make it. Ooh, how cool. I got lax about top watering. Remember what I said about top watering new stuff in pon, and this is in pon. So the other cutting just kind of died off, but this one has sent off 3 new vines, which is very cool. It's in wick-based self-watering, no signs of roots yet. But those leaves, I think, are just really cool. I love the little disc-shaped look to it. So, yeah, this is going to be neat. I plan to let it trail. You're going to see some more Dischidia that I let trail. You've already seen a couple. I want it to look like my ruscifolia. So you'll see a couple others. I think this is going to look very pretty. This is doing well. I'm really happy about this right now. But then everything in here is doing well, so yay, yay. This one came from Sunshine State Foliage on Etsy, and this is Dischidia nummularia. At some point in some place in the world, a little Dischidia nummularia decided it was not getting enough attention, and so did this. And this is Dischidia nummularia Dragon Jade. And it's the same plant, but just a naturally occurring mutation, sport, whatever word you want to use. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, that's just a really interesting kind of thing. And the pictures I saw showed it trailing over the side. It has that sort of Hoya carnosa compacta look. Not quite. The leaves are very domed, cup-shaped, an inverse cup shape. Anyway, these two, I ordered 2 cuttings. They came in this kind of, I can only describe it as like a cocoa coir mousse. It's some kind of foamy peat thing. Maybe peat is what it is. It's like peat foam. And I was going to move it into pond because that, that works well for me. And the roots were so embedded in this stuff. Let's see if I can. That stuff you see right there is the kind of mousse that it's in. I couldn't get the roots out. I wasn't going to take, if I tried to get that out of there, that was going to just hurt these plants too much, and I needed them to get going and growing. So I just plunked it down into my mix, cocoa husk chunks, pumice, long fiber sphagnum, fine bark, self-watering pot. We have some roots escaping. I think so. That's very cool, I think. Dripping water everywhere. There's a root down there, I think, coming out. So I'm surprised it hasn't found the wick, but it'll do that in its own time. Hoya going to do, and it applies, Hoya going to do what Hoya going to do, and it applies to Dischidia too. So yeah, these are fun. These are neat. There's new growth on the tips. I'll put pictures of that over here because that means they're growing, which is the whole point of this thing. So yeah, these came from the Green Escape on Etsy, and this is Dischidia nummularia Dragon Jade. And this next one up, it's one of those plants that I saw and said, I need one of those. I have to find one of those. And that's my Dischidia ovata. Now, Dischidia ovata is native to New Guinea and Queensland in Australia. It was found originally in New Guinea and was discovered by George Bentham. However, it was published in 1843 in the London Journal of Botany, containing figures and descriptions of plants together with botanical notices and information and memoirs of eminent botanists by W.J. Hooker, William Joseph Hooker, father of the patron saint of the channel, Joseph Dalton Hooker. And this plant is just a beauty. Those leaves. It's sometimes called watermelon Dischidia, but I don't like those nicknames because they don't help. And it has turned into this beautiful thing. And it's in bloom. Let's see if I can get the bloom in the picture there. Blooms are tiny, as Dischidia blooms are. These have a lovely little kind of rusty orange color. I'll put some pictures of them over here. Yeah, this is a favorite. This is a favorite plant. I mean, of all of them, this is a favorite plant. It started off as a small cutting, I think. Do I have? Yes, I have an early photo of it. And I had it in my bark and sphagnum mix in a net pot and a cover pot. And it did fine, and as has been the case, it grew to the point where that pot and that mix couldn't contain enough moisture for it. So I moved it to a self-watering wick-based pot and changed it. It used to live behind me on this shelf. And it was at the point where it was like threatening to leap off the edge, and we didn't want that. So I've moved it to the front of the desk so it hangs facing my southeast window. And it likes that spot. It is very happy there because it has turned into this just gorgeous thing. I mean, that's easily 2 feet, which is, he said, pulling out. I've only got one hand. 2 feet is probably, yeah, about 61 centimeters. These leaves are just, you know, what can you say? I mean, man, that's gorgeous. It's such a beautiful plant trailing off the edge there. It blooms, it grows, it doesn't really require any special care. It does like its access to moisture, like its Hoya cousins. But, you know, what more could you want? This is gorgeous. If you're gonna try Dischidia, try either the ruscifolia or the ovata. They're beautiful plants, and give them the right care, and they'll be gorgeous for you, you know? I've had this one so long that I didn't even write down where I bought it because those things weren't important that long ago. Whoever thought I'd be talking and telling people about where they came from? They're available, they're out there. You don't have to pay for a big plant or a big cutting. They will grow. Yeah, this is really cool. This is Dischidia ovata. I've got another mystery on my hands, but everybody's got this mystery. This little plant is Dischidia GPS-88. And it's been commonly referred to as Hoya GPS-88, but Miro said it's now a Dischidia, and we go with whatever Miro tells us, right? I mean, yeah, he's Miro. So what I've been able to figure out, the accession number GPS-88 is not valid. Betsy Begonia posted some information that at some point she had contacted Gerard Paul Shirley, that's the GPS in GPS, and his records for GPS-88 were nothing like this plant at all. To the point where it's like, you know, no, that's not what I have in my notes, in my records. So someone has taken or made up, but taken the number GPS-88 and applied it to this plant, perhaps to give it more cachet, perhaps to give it selling power is probably it, you know, if we're gonna be upright about it. So I found this nice little cutting. It looks like it's settling in. I mean, it's been here for a couple of weeks. It isn't dead yet, so. The leaves are, I don't want it to move too much. If there's new roots, I don't want to tear them up. But the leaves are rather pretty. They're dark, really dark, which is very interesting. It's got some raised veining, and it looks like a bit of a darker margin. Let's see if I can do that. They're kind of neat. I don't want this moving around too much because if there's new roots, I don't want to tear them up. So I've got it rooting in a small net pot in pond with nutrient solution. We're giving it light. We're keeping our fingers crossed. I'm giving it a few drops of top watering every couple of days. And yeah, the International Hoya Dischidia Mystery, GPS-88. This one came from Gigi's Greenhouse on Etsy, and as I said, this is now Dischidia GPS-88. my next little guy had a bit of a rough winter. This is Dischidia vidalii. Now, Dischidia vidalii is native to the Philippines, and it was first published in 1886 in Malaysia by come on, you can do this. Ordoado, no, that's not even right. Ordorado Bakari. Why couldn't I do that? Anyway, it was published again in 1902 as Dischidia pectinoides by Henry Harold Welsh Pearson in the Botanical Journal of the Linnean Society. But because Odoardo had already published it and given it the name vidalii, that's the currently accepted name for this. Now, it's an interesting plant. It's not in its best health right now. It was just a little too dry in the plant room this winter. I tried to keep the moisture up, but I have a feeling this is one of those Dischidia that really wants more than I can do in the winter. I think it's on a bit of a rebound because there's a new vine down here. But anyway, it puts out this large clamshell-like leaf. The leaf kind of grows flat and then it opens up. And ants live inside that clamshell leaf. So they get a protected dry place to live. And the ants who haven't invented the outhouse yet leave their droppings inside that leaf, and the plant uses those to help feed itself, which is kind of cool. Dischidia are often called ant plants. Don't be afraid of getting one. They don't come with ants. The ants aren't sitting outside your house going, oh, they got a Dischidia now, we're going in. Come on, guys. Doesn't work that way, okay? Just because you have what's called an ant plant doesn't mean you're going to get ants. Take a chill pill, relax. I love the tiny little leaves on these. It's very pretty. They're nice, small, round. There's enough new growth that I think he's going to survive. Yeah, I got this in November, which was probably not the time of year to get it. But now that we've got some warmer temperatures and the humidities, the furnace isn't running enough, so the air in the plant room is not as dry. I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, it's just another little tiny vining Dischidia, which I happen to like. So yeah, we're going to give him a good chance. This one came from Plant Things Stuff on Etsy, and this is Hoya vidalii. And the next little guy up, it's my Dischidia hirsuta. Now, Dischidia hirsuta is native to, and I've got another list for you, so bear with me, Cambodia, Kalimantan, Java, Papua, Sulawesi, and Sumatra in Indonesia, Laos, Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, Myanmar, Papua New Guinea, the Bismarck Archipelago, the Philippines, Solomon Islands, Thailand, Vanuatu, and Vietnam. It was discovered in Burma, Malaya, so on that peninsula. It was first published as Leptostemma hirsuta in Bijdragen tot de Flora van Nederlandisch Indie by Carl Ludwig von Bloom, but was republished when it was determined to be a Dischidia in Prodomus systematis naturalis regni vegetabilis, the prodrome of the natural system of the vegetable kingdom, in 1844 by that was the other guy, Joseph Duquesne. And this thing, and hirsuta means hairy or shaggy, and I prefer shaggy. This thing is just cool. Those leaves are just neato, nifty, and kino. This came as a small cutting. I think I've got a picture to put over here of its arrival photo. It's doing really well. I'm very happy about it. It lives on this side of my desk, trailing off the, trailing off the side of the desk facing the grow shelves. So it's getting pretty nice light. It is furry, shaggy. I'll put close-ups of its shagginess on the screen. This is just really cool. I think in the next couple weeks, this little puppy is going to go to town for me. This is another good gateway. I haven't had this long enough to like say, oh yeah, absolutely. But it's fairly easy to find. It's readily available. It shouldn't be too expensive. Don't pay a lot of money for it. And it's just pretty. I mean, I like this one. I'm really glad I got this. Yeah, this one came from the Plants Our Life shop on Etsy. And this is Dischidia hirsuta. And another Dischidia I'm really glad I found is my Dischidia acutifolia. This is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I mean, that's just amazing. It does want access to irregular water, so we'll talk about that. Anyway, this is native to Assam in India, Java, Kalimantan, Maluku, New Guinea, Sulawesi, and Sumatra in Indonesia, Laos, Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, Myanmar, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. And yeah, it wants, don't mess with its water. It wants steady, doesn't want to dry out at all, But in return, you get these leaves that are just beautiful. And I should have a picture of what it looked like when it arrived, and it has grown into this. This is just beautiful. It has bloomed for me, and with luck, I remembered to take pictures of the blooms, and they should be over here. And it's grown like, it's grown like crazy. That's just really, really beautiful. It's a stunning, stunning plant. I just can't get over the leaves. They're just so pretty. I keep showing them, but man, that's just beautiful. That's a really cool plant. It's got darker leaves, so it lives in the space between this plant shelf and this plant shelf on the floor. So it's in kind of the fallout. For me, it seems that darker leaved Hoyas and Dischidias do better in lower light, they do better in lower light. I'll phrase it that way. So that's where this one lives. He seems to appreciate it there. It's just, this is a good one. I just enjoy everything about this. This was discovered in Malacca, was published in 1883 in the Flora of British India by Joseph Dalton Hooker. It had been mentioned beforehand by Alexander Carroll Maingay, but wasn't officially published until Joseph Dalton Hooker came along. This one is really pretty. I really love this. If you like Dischidia and want something a little different, definitely look for this one. This one came from Botanist Library on Etsy, and this is Dischidia acutifolia. And I should have more to show you of this plant than I do. Operator error. This is Dischidia lancifolia. Now, Dischidia lancifolia is native to the Philippines. It was discovered in the Philippines on Catanduanes Island and published in 1918 in the Philippine Journal of Science by Elmer Drew Merrill. And I had a much larger plant of this. I may even have a picture of it over here. My notes say I do. And it settled in for a bit, and then I decided it was time to move it to pond. And it had a nice root system. And as I've said, when I move stuff into pond, especially with younger plants, I need to go in and give them just a little bit of nutrient solution every couple of days, because a self-watering pot in a plant are a system, and the roots at that point had not grown enough to start to take advantage of the capillary action between the wick and the pond. In other words, I didn't give it enough to drink and it started to dry out. And I noticed that the lower leaves were going, and my initial response to that kind of behavior is I need to take a cutting now. So this is that cutting. Those leaves are just beautiful. I love that central vein. It's just, how pretty is that? That's why I want a big pot of this. I don't see any rootage as of yet. Oh, yes, do I? I can't tell if that's like edge of moisture. God, that sounds awful, doesn't it? Wasn't that a soap opera in the 60s, The Edge of Moisture? And yes, and I'm old enough that I remember the 60s. Or its roots. I can't tell which. I'd like to hope it's roots, but I tend to be optimistic. So anyway, but the leaves sparked back up. It hasn't died, so my fingers are crossed on this one. I want more of those beautiful leaves. I think they're really pretty. Yeah, I want a whole big optimistic trellis of this stuff. So this is from Planting with Wine on Etsy, and this is Dischidia lancifolia. And the last of the Dischidia dozen is my Dischidia tonsuensis. Now, Dischidia tonsuensis is native to Sulawesi in Indonesia, and it was found in Sulawesi on Tonsu Hill, west of Lake Poso, and so it was found on Tonsu Hill. Ensis means from the place of, so it means from the place of Tonsu Hill. It was published in 2014 in Hoya New by Ted Green and Robert Dale Kloppenberg. And I have a picture of what it looked like when it arrived over here. And right now you're thinking to yourself, it looks like the same plant. And I've been thinking that for quite some time. So first I thought flat mites. We have treated it for flat mites. There should not be flat mites here. I have a root that has made its way out of the pot. So it seems the roots are healthy, it would appear. There is no new growth. There are no... Just want to make sure before I said something stupid. Well, something else stupid, because it's me, you know. No, I don't see any new growth points. So the other day I thought, nobody gets to just sit around here. Everybody works in my plant room. So I flushed the pond with hydrogen peroxide in case there was anything going on down there. Because I had this one root, and I wasn't going to go rooting around to see what was going on. So I flushed it with hydrogen peroxide and let it sit for a couple of minutes and then flushed it out with clear water. With luck, I mean, those leaves are really neat. You gotta admit, that's a very cool looking thing. So yeah, I want more of those. I want an optimistic trellis of these. Are you listening? If you could send me a text or something, let me know what it is you want. I can try and do that. I mean, it's from places, that was going to be a really awkward sentence. It's from places from which I have other plants that do fine. So it's not that I can't necessarily provide the conditions it wants. Talk to me. Tell me what you want. This would be really pretty when it gets going. We'll keep you posted on that. This came from Planting with Wine on Etsy, and this is Dischidia tonsuensis. And the question or questions for the comments this week are, do you grow any Dischidia? And if so, which ones? And if you don't, are you thinking about getting one? And which one are you thinking about? Leave your answer in the comments below and we'll take a look and see what everybody's up to with their Dischidia. And I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up, like button, the subscribe button, and that notification bell. They're all really important to the growth of my channel. It's like I have a rented mouth today. A lot of the products that you've seen me use are available through my Amazon storefront, and there's a link in the description below. I get a small commission on the sale, but it doesn't affect your price at all. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or there's a thanks button, super thanks button down here, and YouTube handles all the stuff for the super thanks button. I'm going to put links to a couple more videos over here on the side, and enjoy the rest of your week's end.